My arms are too long. Hello Whovians, and welcome back to another Doctor Who video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Wild Blue Yonder, which is the 60th anniversary's second special that just aired today on December 2nd, 2023. So first things first, that opening I thought was really cool. I love how the 14th Doctor seems to interfere with history and how things are happening, like in the Children in Need special with Davros, where he kind of is the reason that the Daleks have a plunger instead of a massive claw. And here, obviously, we have Sir Isaac Newton, who supposedly gets hit on the head with an apple because the TARDIS lands on the tree. And I love how they interfere with the word gravity, which is kind of used throughout the episode with mavity instead of gravity, which I thought was a really cool little niche reference that they kept using. We're then thrown straight into the action where Donna and the Doctor find themselves on some mysterious spaceship and the TARDIS basically just explodes in front of them. And I really like how, to fix this, the Doctor brings out a normal screwdriver and a sonic screwdriver, something that I don't think has been done before, whether he's brought both of them out, but I really like how we had to use a human version to then get the Time Lord technology into the lock to try and fix the TARDIS. So they start to have a little wander around and they come across something in the distance that they can't quite make out yet. So they start to approach said thing in the distance, and on the way, what I really found funny was how Donna mentioned that Sir Isaac Newton was hot, and the 14th Doctor then goes on to say he was really hot, and the Doctor's like, whoa, is this me now? And Donna's like, well, yeah, I wasn't far from the surface. Just those little one-liners I really find funny when they tease with the Doctor's sexuality, because the Doctor is literally an alien, so why can't he enjoy a bit of eye candy from time to time? The TARDIS then starts to dematerialise, and Donna and the Doctor literally run straight back to the room that they were in to try and solve what the hell is going on. Where the hell is this TARDIS going? And when they get back, it's gone. It's ran away. Donna, understandably, starts freaking out, and luckily the Doctor is there to reassure her, and I really like that scene where he kisses her hand and says, I'm going to get you back home, don't worry. I think that human side, or the more emotional side of the Doctor in this carnation, is really, really cool, and it's something that I really enjoy the Doctor having as part of their personality. So after this, they head back out into the kind of long corridor sort of thing, and everything starts to shift and move. And then the Doctor so happens to find a little floating car sort of thing where they speed over to the object in the distance and find a robot. That cutie patootie little robot. I've said cutie patootie in the last two videos, so apologies that I keep using that term, but he's a little cutie patootie. And obviously, I think at this point, it's quite obvious that it's not a threat. But one thing that I really like about this scene is the music is really tense, and you have those moments where in the corridor there's like little holes and the camera follows the Doctor and Donna walking through, and that feeling of like being really tense is done really well, I think. I remember sitting there and thinking, oh my god, like what the hell is going to happen? What is going on? Now the next sort of scene is kind of quite a long one, but to kind of put it in a nutshell, they go to the end of the corridor, and I keep calling it a corridor. It's a lot bigger than a corridor. I just don't know what to name it right now. And then they get to the front and they realise that it's the captain's sort of deck where the original captain obviously has a chair and pilots the ship. And there's a really cool scene where there's like a drone that goes around the ship and shines a light, and then it ends up shining the light into the cockpit, into the front of Doctor and Donna. And it's kind of scanning them. And I thought that scene was really cool, how it kind of came round, and I thought the CGI looked really cool there. And that is one thing that bugged me a little bit during the first part of this episode, was obviously it's so CGI heavy that there were elements like where the kind of floating car was moving where the CGI didn't look incredible, but I'm going to forgive it because at the end of the day, CGI is never going to look 100,000%. You know, Disney Plus has injected some money into this era of Doctor Who, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that their budget kind of implementation isn't truly given until Shooty's season. So I think they obviously worked with what they had, and what they've done is incredible. And yeah, this episode's incredibly ambitious, and as I continue to go on, it's just weird, crazy, and bananas. So to cut to the next sort of important bit, the Doctor and Donna go into different areas of the ship to try and kind of explore and see what they can fix and see if they can get the ship kind of up and running again. And there's that really funny scene where the Doctor licks the kind of tray that's in the machine cabinet thing and obviously pretends that he's dying, which I thought was a really cool and fun callback to the Unicorn and the Wasp, where the Doctor's like dying and he's like, salt, salt. And salt obviously then gets used later on as well, which I thought was a really cool and random reference. So from this, obviously the Doctor goes into another room to look at the pipes to sort the water sort of levels out and do some Time Lordy stuff. And Donna is moving the trays from one sort of cabinet to another. And then we obviously have the scene where the Doctor walks back in and starts talking about Wilf. And this was at the point where I started to notice something's weird here. I could kind of sense that it wasn't going to be the actual Doctor. And then obviously Donna then walks in to the Doctor in the other room as well. And it kind of reminded me of Midnight in that kind of weird, you know something isn't right and you know something is wrong. But the moment where the Doctor and Donna both say that their arms are too long, and that scene where their arms are just flopped onto the floor. Donna's got a one arm that's just super long. The Doctor's got two arms that are just like incredibly enlarged. I remember watching this and thinking, what on earth is going on? In a good way, in a really good way. But I was just thinking, what is this? I think the build-up towards this episode kind of made out that it was like going to be a really spooky, scary sort of, maybe sort of a spiritual sort of episode. But this was something completely different and completely bizarre. I was like, what is happening here? Now I'm going to jump a little bit now. So the Doctor and Donna are being chased by these creatures that are themselves but aren't themselves, and they're morphing and they're like growling and going crazy. And they obviously get back onto the little cart and start running, or not running, but speeding away. And they grab onto the cart and Donna's whacking the hand, like, get off, get off. And they just start to enlarge and turn morphy. And it kind of reminds me of like those things that are at car shops in America where they're like arms are flapping about. And obviously then they get stuck and they're squished, and the Doctor's just staring, much to Donna's amusement. She's like, we need to get out of here. And the Doctor's like, wait a minute, you've got to look at this. Like, this is freaky. And it was freaky. What was going on? So by this point, the ship then starts to kind of move around again. And there's words that are being said during the movement of the ship. And I can't remember exactly what the words are, but obviously they come up a little bit later on. And so the Doctor and Donna end up trying to escape, but falling into different sort of like levels of kind of underground or overground, different kind of compartments of the ship. And obviously then they're separated. They can't hear each other. And they're just kind of off exploring, trying to find each other. This is obviously the perfect moment where the Doctor and Donna meet themselves again for the first time. Also they think, or they're a bit dubious about it. I liked how they were trying to test each other, but in kind of like a comedic way. Like, I would say that if I was me, or I would only know that if I was the Doctor, or I would only know that if I was Donna. Also, how freaky was it when Donna was like a puddle, but also her body just on the floor, and then the Doctor just flips into his legs and starts crawling around like a freaky weirdo. Like, it was just such a... I was watching this and thinking, what is actually happening right here? Obviously, these are like shape-shifting, morphing sort of aliens, kind of like Zygons almost, but on steroids and super flexible. I didn't think they were going to be Zygons, and actually I was trying to think during the episode, what is this reminding me of? And it was kind of like Zygons. But ultimately, yeah, I was just mind-boggled at this point. So I'm kind of rushing through this bit now just because I'm trying to get this review out as quickly as I can. But obviously we get to the point where the Doctor and Donna meet Doctor and Donna again, and they're all talking to each other. And at this point, I really like how it switches and we start to realise what these monsters are and what they want. And obviously there's that thing of, do they want the TARDIS? Is there something to do with the ship? What's actually happening? I'm just going to backtrack a tiny bit because I just remembered how Donna, or the fake Donna, mentioned the flux and how the Doctor doesn't know where they come from now. I thought that was really cool to implement because Obviously, people have hated on the Timeless Child and stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of the Timeless Child, but what I do really appreciate is when something isn't swept under the carpet or kind of just retconned, but it's acknowledged. And I think this was the perfect way of doing it. And it kind of made you realise how much the Doctor has gone through and how much this actually really does affect him. But yeah, so we kind of get to the point where we realise that the shifting of the ship and the words is a countdown for basically self-detonation of the ship to just explode, because the captain realised that these beings are from the end of the universe. If they got hold of this ship, they could go to other universes and wreak havoc and basically just cause chaos. And obviously the Doctor no like this. They know like this. They want this to not be the case. So what best is try and stop them, yeah? So they realised the captain basically set this up to stop these beings from being able to do it, and they slowed down time in order for them to not be able to figure out how to stop it from self-detonating. And obviously the robot is used as kind of like a slow motion walking tick-tock bomb detonator, press a button thing. I really wouldn't be good as a Time Lord because my gibberish wouldn't come out properly. We then have the crazy scenes where the Doctor is running after the Doctor and Donna is running after Donna, and the Doctor, fake Doctor, turns into a leopard running freak and is trying to get to the robot before it detonates. Donna is fighting other Donna to try and obviously get there too. And then the Doctor realises at this point, if the TARDIS realises that the danger is going to be gone, it's going to arrive. So obviously, lo and behold, the TARDIS arrives. Also, I loved how the Doctor kind of uses it as a skateboard to get to Donna. It reminded me very much of Runaway Bride, obviously, where it's kind of parallel to the taxi. I love how the TARDIS is used as a kind of object and rather than just a ship, because we obviously see it flying through the vortex all the time, but I love it when it's used in this way, where it's kind of like a human sort of transport. The Doctor then gets to both Donnas and he asks about Mrs. Bean, and obviously he picks the wrong Donna, brings her onto the ship. We realise this as the Doctor is flying away and Donna is stuck on the ship. And I have to tell you, at this point, when I saw that the button had been pressed and the ship was exploding, I really believed that Russell was going to kill Donna off. Now, I'm not like an idiot. I know that realistically that wasn't going to happen, but in my head, I was thinking, imagine if Donna was killed off, and then this fake Donna is the only existence left of Donna, and this fake existence of Donna is part of the next episode, and the Doctor doesn't realise it's a fake Donna. Kind of a bit like New Earth, where obviously at first he didn't quite realise that it was Cassandra as Rose. But imagine how cool that would have been to have that dynamic of it's not actually Donna, and he can't go back and he cannot fix it. It's done. I am very grateful that she didn't die. But that scene, I was holding my breath. I was like, what is going on here? And I now understand what the reviews were from the official podcast, where Russell said that their jaws were just basically dropped to the floor. And at the end of the episode, they were just like, what the hell? Obviously, the whole episode's a bit of a random thing anyway, so I can completely understand why they were like that anyway. But yeah, this scene I was really scared about. But obviously, lo and behold, the Doctor comes and saves the real Donna, and they make it just in the nick of time. And that's kind of it for the main part. We then obviously have the incredible end scene where Wilf is there at the end, and to tell you how happy I was to see Bernard Cribbins there on screen. I was not expecting him at the end of this episode at all. I genuinely thought that it was just kind of going to end with them. I didn't think it was going to be a cliffhanger per se, but I thought they would just kind of arrive and then there would be like, I don't know, Cloister Bell or something, and then something to do with the next episode was going to happen. But I really liked the end scene and how Wilf is like, Doctor, you have to help us again. And that whole scene was really cool. And just Wilf made the whole episode for me. It was just so amazing to see him back. And this whole episode was just weird. Now, I haven't really talked that much about the kind of beings or what they could be. I think it's very kind of Midnight-esque how they've kept that secret. We're never going to know what those creatures were. And I love how that's kind of almost like a Midnight reference, but also is kind of its own little thing. Obviously, you can have your own theories about what they might be, but I like how we're never going to quite know what they were or why they were there. Obviously, we know they're from the end of the universe, or so we think, but I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was just freaky, bizarre, weird, extraordinary, and it was Doctor Who at its best, really. I think there were some things like CGI that could have been a little bit better, but overall this episode was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to rewatch it, because I think this is going to be one of those episodes where in the future, when I come back to revisit the 60th specials, it's really going to stand out, and I cannot wait for the giggle next week. But yeah, overall I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 10 just because I want to rewatch it and take it in for what it really is. But for now, I'm going to give it a 9. I'm sorry if I missed anything crazy in this review. I just wanted to get this out as soon as possible and get my kind of initial reaction to it, because I didn't really do that with the Star Beast, and I've rewatched it a couple of times. So I think this time I wanted to focus on my initial thoughts. So if I feel like I want to review it again, I might put another video out. But yeah, this was my initial thoughts, and thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I can't thank you enough for your support, and goodbye.